just a minute or two more. Article 3. This is, so what are we looking at for 3? So I see as shown on the screen.
Todd, you want to chime in anything further? But we will have snow and ice transfers. We have some transfers for fire department, for some overtime expenses and some purchases. And then we may have the transfer from the opioid stabilization fund. The board has to decide that tonight, but that's it.
Okay.
Todd, anything else on your radar?
The debt for the ambulance?
And the debt for the ambulance.
What do you mean, the debt for the ambulance?
I pay the debt for the ambulance.
Okay, so it's just the debt service on it. This isn't something new. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So and you'll be able to get that to me.
We'll have it in advance. So the only thing that's outstanding, there's the board's decision on how much they want to propose transferring the opioid. They're going to make that decision tonight.
Okay.
So Todd has already put the slide together. We'll just insert that figure and we'll be done.
Okay.
Because I think we got our last snow and ice sort of bills. Right, Barry? We got our last snow and ice, so we're good there. Yeah.
So Article 4, it says as printed in the warrant, but I assume there's a specific union?
Yeah, so we're going to have potentially, so fire and police. We'll have fire and police. What we've done is those are already incorporated in the budget. We've been putting this article as a standard sort of put in there, but we have the figures and the funding of it in the budget already, so, but it will be fire and police.
I mean, I guess I'd prefer it rather than as printed in the warrant, then maybe have that motion to be.
Yeah, the actual
those specific ones there.
When they considered it, we weren't settled with either one of them.
Okay.
The board's considering those.
All right, so we just let's get that one a little more specificity to it. I think that'd be good.
Yep.
Article 5, I assume that's, is there a Schedule B in the published warrant?
We don't have the Schedule B in the published warrants. We have the information in the warrant itself, what the increase is. Are you asking on the non-union schedule?
Well, I mean, it just describes something by applying, so this is the only thing that's happening.
That's the only thing that's happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Article 6, anything about the omnibus that I should know? The motion or the article looks fine. Anything? else I should know? We've specified, I know in years past, we wanted things broken out. Anything?
No, we've broken it out. We started that last year. I don't know if David wants to add anything from the advisory side.
I know that it was a tough budget year and that there was a lot of discussion
Yeah.
at advisory. David, anything here?
We did, we voted 5-3 on this, so it may engender conversation about who voted no. It's going to be an interesting discussion. I think my recommendation in my letter lay it out pretty clearly.
Do we, I mean, I haven't heard
I'm making
anything.
the motion too, and I know there was concern from a couple of my members about me making the motion since I voted against the budget, but.
Well, you're making an affirmative motion though, so.
Correct.
You
Yes,
can
I'm not.
if you,
Right.
I mean, I'd rather not lead with a minority report, but I'm not gonna.
We're not going to do it's not going to be a minor.
Okay. So it's going to be the usual stuff here, so where you guys, schools, get a chance to talk. I'm not telling you at advisory not to say where the tension is on this either. You do it however you
No,
want.
yeah, that's, the discussion from me is going to be where the tension is.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, there's no whispers or anyone wanting to move to amend something? I haven't heard anything.
The only time we heard it was from David in
Yeah.
advisory. I haven't heard it from anyone else. So
Okay.
I'll once again refer to them.
Okay. All right, if anyone hears anything, I'll be listening too, but I'd just like to know ahead of time so we can prepare if it's a big one or a little one, or they're throwing things out of balance. It's just good to prepare, so let's keep me posted on that. Article 7 looks fine. Article 8 looks fine. Sorry. Article 9, no capital, right?
No cap.
Okay. 9 and 10, right? So that's all pushed off to the fall?
Yes.
Okay. 11 is just this. You know, I had thought about doing the consent agenda. There just wasn't enough. You know, if there was like 5 or more, I would do it, but it just wasn't enough. I think we'll get through a lot of this stuff pretty quickly anyway. 12, even though we don't need it, this keeps showing up. So, Article 13, I did hear that library trustees want to give a report. Who else?
You'll probably have some from Fire Station Building Committee.
Sure.
And I think I'm seeing Andy today. I will bet that Andy wants to give some.
Really? That's a real tough bet. Yeah.
Who wants to go against me? Go
I'm
ahead.
betting the house.
Just permanently put him on future stuff.
You think, I mean, I keep getting him down in time, you know, if I tell him 30 seconds this year, how do you think that's going to go?
Minute and a half.
He was good last year. He actually kept it to a dull roar.
I missed the beginning of that. Are we talking about Andy?
Yeah.
So, just to be aware is that the construction that's occurring on 115 down by, as Chad can tell you, down by the corner, 115 and Dedham Street is for the ground mount solar that we did several years ago. That might
Yeah,
come up as
you
part
heard
of.
some trails
Someone might
in
ask
there.
Andy a question,
Put up some
or
trails.
Andy might bring it up. And there's been a little bit of stuff kicking around on the community page about it.
Okay, he's going to have to fit that, thanks David for that. He's going to have to fit that into an actual committee report. I'm not going to have,
Right.
people
No, I understand.
jawboning about their, objections to a particular project per se. Although, again, I don't like the loss of trails, so.
It was discussed at town meeting, Jay.
14 16 is straightforward. That's just the admin one.
I'm just reading here.
15 is, why don't we combine admin with 14? Don't we talk about this every year, wanting to combine the two? Let's try and do that in the future. 16 is Mirror Lake. What's the discussion out there on that?
We voted unanimously did we vote unanimously? We voted to go forward with the phase one analysis. This has never been discussed at town meeting before, so it's never gotten there. We IP'd it.
Yeah, I
once,
remember
it
that.
was Drawn once. Cindy might
Cindy,
have more
what do you
detail.
have to say about this one?
Yeah, I'm online, so Mirror Lake would like to do a short presentation on this, I believe, or at the very least be prepared to
Who's
answer.
Mirror Lake? I mean, why would Mirror Lake do it and not CPC?
Because they're the proponents of the project. They have all the slides, all the information. It's more their,
And
they're the ones that are well-versed in it, put it that way.
Okay, so I'm going to need to, if you're speaking to them, or
Yes.
anyone is, I'm going to need to know what that presentation is.
All right, do you have parameters these days as far as time, number of
Well, I mean,
slides? I will let them know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to keep people to under 5 minutes, but if it's an important presentation, I'm not going to try and shut someone down. I just want to, my policy is I want to see it before
Okay.
people start putting it up on the screen. And they're going to
Sure.
then have to coordinate the tech with the town hall team to make sure that it's all teed up.
So just to
course.
go off of that, Jay, Cindy, we'll be sending an email to department heads and boards and commissions, giving a date when we need the presentations by, because we have to send it to the electronic team over there, so.
Right, and I want to see them all.
Yeah, we always want to share it in advance, too.
Yeah. So if you're talking, I mean, I'm not trying to dissuade them from doing a presentation. I think it's great if they do a presentation. I just think we all need to see it.
Of course, no, I understand that, and I anticipated that.
Okay, all right.
So as soon as I get a date, I will let them know.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay.
Same thing, Campbell, is there a presentation on Campbell Town Forest at all, or any pictures or anything?
Have a slide.
Okay, good,
Yeah, Rich made a nice map.
okay.
The same thing as one?
Yeah.
I was talking with Dave Torrey over the weekend. Is he planning on speaking to it? Is he the one planning on presenting?
I honestly don't know. I know it's just that I suggested that we have a slide with a map because people don't know, some people do not know where this is. And then I would hope that it would be self-explanatory, and if someone needs to answer questions, I think Conservation can, Rich can, I can answer some.
Okay, all right. I mean, just a slide is fine, whatever people want to do. But I think something visual there, and if other people have a presentation, just let me know, but a slide is obviously fine. Again, just coordinate with Justin's team to make sure. 18, similar, any pictures there, or pretty straightforward?
I think it's pretty straightforward, but Justin can speak to this as well, because I was speaking to him about it yesterday. I just wanted to make sure that somebody would be able to, from facilities, would be able to speak to these, I should say, and be able to answer questions. And I know that, Matt has moved on, so just waiting to hear someone who can answer questions.
Yep, so our new facilities director starting Monday. He'll be in the loop. We have the slides. Matt is still helping us in the transition, so we'll be prepared.
So who's that going to be? I mean,
His name's Tim Schuenar. He'll be on May, so
Okay,
people will know.
that's fine.
Yeah.
same thing, so that's 18,
The 19th.
19. Same thing as,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, both playgrounds.
Okay. 20, anyone presenting or talking about that?
I think Josh.
Hadn't planned on it, thought it was pretty self-explanatory. If questions arise, I would hope to punt them to someone on the planning board.
A lucky planning board
Yes.
on that, because pickleball can be controversial, so I'm not going to reopen discussion on the underlying thing here, so let's try and keep the focus on just why we're asking for more. So,
More time.
yeah, more
Only
time.
at this point.
Yeah. Right. So we are not going to have another discussion on why pickleball is good or bad.
Last year's didn't go long enough for you?
This did cause some discussion at the advisory committee, and the primary point was by extending it by whatever it ends up being, 18 months or 12 months, you are more than likely going to need more money than was appropriated initially. And they'll have to come back to us. And that was sort of my pushback, is that that's fine, they have to come back to us.
Right, but we're not going to be discussing that either.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know.
No, listen, I don't mind the comment, it's just that
Yeah.
what we have is an extension of time, and we're
Right.
going to focus on the extension of time.
Yep.
All right, 21, an article probably only Tom and I could love here, because the AG is starting to issue some decisions, and some of these are going to get rejected, and my feeling is that, too bad, AG, you're making wrong decisions. So there's going to be questions, and between Tom and myself and you, Rich, we'll get them answered, but there's provisions here they're going to reject.
So we did send to the AG already and
They've been pretty non-committal about these things, but I can tell you the ones that they're
All
going to
right.
reject. So they're not going to allow that it only be limited to being accessory to single-family houses, and they're not going to allow that you can't be further than the primary structure. And
Yeah,
they're going to have comments on the site plan. Listen, I'm for this, and
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I
the
know,
AG
yeah.
is over their skis
Yeah.
on this, and towns are pretty frustrated, so
Yeah.
you're not going to hear from me a lengthy
No, I know.
exposition about why there's this like internal battle with EOHLC, and the AG isn't happy with EOHLC either. So it's definitely a three-legged stool there.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but if legal questions come up,
Yeah. Yeah.
Tom and I will probably field a little bit. They may or may not come up. So.
Do we do it slide? I don't know, Chad. We gonna have slides for this?
We do, yeah, we do. This is Chad Peck, Chairman of the Planning Board. We do have a few slides for this. They're pretty simple and basic. We can provide a handout as well with the slides. It just kind of goes through what's an example of an ADU, why are we doing this, and what are the impacts to the town, and what a yes vote means versus a no vote. So we thought that's kind of the last slide, is what does a yes mean, what's a no mean,
Okay.
and the impacts to it.
Again, I'd like to see those
Yep.
slides well in advance. It's fine.
Yep.
I think it's an
Yeah, I'm
important
ready.
bylaw, so, right.
Yeah, Rich can get you those, they're ready.
Okay. Sounds good. Article 22, what do we have here, Rich or Chad or Gary or?
Where we amended the use table so the EV is across the board, all districts, special permit in the residential, and then there's a site plan process in terms of approval of the EV charging stations,
And
commercial ones.
who's going to speak to this if questions arise?
Chris or myself, Chris Mofford,
Okay,
who's the vice chair,
okay.
because Chad won't.
Chad's gone.
I won't, unfortunately, I won't be available.
He won't be in the, yeah.
Got it.
So Chris is prepared. See, that's what did
Yep,
to us.
Chris and Melissa will be going through all the different articles, and Chris has got this one covered.
Okay. All right, good. And any significant discussion during your public hearing on either the ADU stuff or this, or pretty smooth?
The public hearings went well. We kept the public hearing open for a couple months, actually, and addressed all the issues. But yeah, for the most part, we're moving ahead. No major concerns with either.
And Dave, anything from you on this or the prior article?
One of my members on this one got into the weeds quite a bit, and I think is satisfied with the answer we got from the planning board
Okay.
relative to
That was EV.
commercial versus private, or combining them, and can you skirt the commercial review by having one single private? It's an obscure, detail-driven discussion that probably Chad knows how to answer now if it comes up like that.
Okay, we do.
Or
Right.
the board knows how to answer now if it comes up. It's fine.
Okay.
We were broadly supportive, and it was more the nitty-gritty that got us bogged down, so.
Yeah, I would say, kudos to David and the advisory board. They kind of got into the weeds on all the details and tried to poke holes at it. And so that was good. Appreciate that. One additional thing is we did have Peter Diamond review this, and he helped us actually write this EV bylaw. So we did have our electrical inspector opine on all that.
Okay. All right. 23 is this is going around town after town. Some changes here, pretty straightforward, right? Nothing.
No, nothing. And
We do have a
actually,
Rich, we're going to do a handout for this, right? Just so we can show them the map.
it's really, it's really hard to do it town scale, but yes.
So question, so there's a new map.
Yeah.
So Tom, for you, the AG has been a little bit more of a stickler
Okay.
on these lately. Did the map go out with the warrant?
The map didn't go out with the. No.
So-
It's on the,
If we're doing these map changes, they've been a little bit more rigorous, so you might want to just take a look at this, and maybe the motion would be as it's written here, and further to amend the town's zoning map accordingly, and make sure that that map's available, which it appears that it is.
yes.
Has this been put out there yet?
Yeah, it's on the website. What we'll do is when we get the map and all the ancillary documents, we're gonna put it in the town meeting folder area too, so we can make the map.
But has there been like the official
Oh, yeah.
publishing, posting of the warrant?
Yep, Erica and advisory sent that out. We got the postage out, so yeah.
Okay, so I'd get that out there. Again, just the AG's been a little bit of a stickler on zoning maps lately, so I think it's important. I don't want to see them say, it doesn't invalidate this, but it would require you to do something in the fall to add
Yeah.
the map. So let's see if we can get it added now.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Jay. You're welcome.
A question came up at our committee on why the date is in the future, and that's because of the effective date of the map is that date. So we're doing it now, sort of in anticipation.
Okay.
It's a question that might be asked.
All right. So Article 24 looks like just kind of housekeeping.
Yeah.
25, same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
26, what do we have here? Tell me about this one.
26. It's to update the criteria of the special permit in terms of we're going to.
Just to state that.
Yeah, it's a
that
current
you have
master.
to do a site plan only when site plans are required.
Correct. And then we changed the master plan. We got rid of the date and just say current, so as it changed, obviously, you can see there hasn't been changed since 92. We already have one in between, so. That's it.
All right. 27, who's going to be talking about this one?
DPW director.
We do have slides for that. Melissa will be going.
No, not that one.
No,
That's not us yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yep. Sorry. I got ahead of myself.
Did.
so 27 is shade tree bylaw. The DPW director will speak to it.
Okay. So we don't have park commissioners.
Yeah, that was a good catch. I missed that. So we will
Select board.
substitute select board
Okay.
for park commissioners. Okay.
Otherwise, we're just, as is pretty typical,
Yeah, otherwise it's a standard one.
who is our tree warden? Is it the DPW director normally?
Yes.
Okay.
Tree warden of the year.
Okay, any other discussion on this that folks are hearing? There's going to be a need, because it's going to come up, people are going to say, don't tell me what to do about my trees. This is just public trees on public property, right? So let's make sure that if there's any discussion of it, that it's limited to that, because that seems to come up. 28.
28's a whole lot of nothing. Ollie's Law.
Yeah,
the
this
changes.
is just catching up, right?
Yeah, the rest of our bylaws are actually really good. Just a couple of little things to add, that's all,
Okay.
with
And-
ACO approval. That's
All
all.
right.
Other than that, our bylaws are in compliance with Ollie's Law.
Okay.
We're in good shape.
This is just catching up then?
Yeah, that's all.
Got it. All right, 29, there is an indefinite postponement request by advisory. Where's the select board on this?
We're going to amend.
To do what?
Is this, I don't have it in front of me, is this the one about presentation of the articles?
Yes.
Yes.
We're going to amend to, we don't agree with the IP.
Okay, so what are you going to amend to? You're going to amend just to substitute with
Correct.
an affirmative
Substitute.
motion?
Correct.
Okay. So I think that there's an issue, though, with this, and I don't really care a whole lot one way or the other at the underlying premise of this, but it says, when an article comes before town meeting, the proponent of a warrant article shall be recognized first for the purpose of making a motion on the article, and then I think that's it's fine, but unless it's a citizen's petition in Norfolk, the proponent is always the select board, unless it's community preservation, because you guys create the warrant. We don't have anything in our bylaws that allows other people to do it.
To add articles.
Right.
But I think, technically I agree with you, but in the warrant today, I think we identify who the quote-unquote proponent is.
Right, so I guess it says, but then the next sentence is the thing that kind of worries me a little bit from a moderator standpoint. It says, "The proponent shall provide the town clerk all main motions in writing." And I think, I have that in a couple other towns. That gets choppy, because, you spend a lot of time coming up with the right motions, advisory spends a lot of time. If we have a proponent, DPW or whatever, no shade on DPW, but I want the motions to be kind of consistent with each other. So I have a little concern here. It's all centralized right now with the advisory board. So at least the form is coming out roughly the same. I frankly would rather have the form of the motions get cleared by, if we're going to switch gears from advisory to proponents, or shift gears away from advisory for making the motions, and there's a good policy and maybe not a good policy on that. I'm kind of Switzerland on it. I'd still rather have the motions get made centrally or drafted centrally.
I think you have two select board members here. I don't know whether they want to chime in. I'll give my opinion. Obviously, how it's worked these past 3 years. It's advisory will do a draft of the motions. It will come to us. I will take a cleanup version of it, and then we go to town council. It was brought up when we were advisory committee that you have change in personnel, so maybe a different town administrator doesn't do that process, but that has been a working process that I think has worked well. I don't see a reason why we would change that. So I don't know if it's
I'm just a
internal
little
policy that-
wary about.
No, I hear you.
Because you're going to end up counseling multiple different proponents.
Yeah.
If the idea is that if DPW or planning board or whoever has a motion that they want to do and they provide it, you're just creating more work for yourselves in a way.
I think theoretically, I mean, town council really is doing the motions most of the time. I mean, we've had these standard motions that we've utilized. I think theoretically, if I were here, we would be done with the motions way in advance with this process, me personally,
So-
but I can't speak to what the
I don't
process
think
is in the future.
I don't think the process is going to change, Jay. I think the process will be exactly the same. It's just who goes to the microphone first, is kind of the way I look at it. We just feel that the board that is bringing forward the request, CPC is a good example, they should be the ones to present the motion.
Listen,
not right.
I'm
He agrees with, I think it's the
I'm on
next
board
one.
with that.
It's the next slide.
Because as you know, I kind of changed the practice a number of years ago when we had citizens petitions to allow them to do it. They put in all the work. I'm fine with that. I'm more worried about, right now it says the proponent shall provide the town clerk all main motions in writing or electronically 24 hours.
Yeah, why are we doing that?
That kind of conflicts with, we have this meeting, even if we're doing it now kind of later than, which was your request, which I have no problem with, than 2 weeks, it still doesn't give anyone much of an opportunity.
And that's fair. Yeah, you're
So
right. I agree.
So I'm gonna just ask that as you go through,
Clean that up.
I think just give some consideration
Your
to
point's well
something,
taken. Yeah.
you know, I would maybe even change that to something more than 24 hours, and then say the final form of such motion shall be approvable either by town council or the select board or something like that.
Point well taken.
I want it to go smoothly, and I don't want to cause more work
We
for
do
you
too.
guys or for Carol or for the moderator. Like, oh my gosh, I just got motions from these people last night.
No, I agree, Jay. It makes all the sense.
So why would they be providing the motions to me? Because I don't put that together, the
That's
motions.
just the language that's
All
been
I'm
in
saying
there.
is,
That's not my,
I know, but we're looking at these things and like, and sometimes like, oh gosh, that motion's a train wreck, you know, whereas in recent years, obviously, we don't really come into that because we have these other processes. But if it says people can wait until 24 hours.
and then
We'll
submit
change
something that's
that.
junk.
I agree.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So that's what the language has been there forever, so I think we just need to-
Right, but advisory's been doing it.
Yeah.
So they've been prepared.
Yep.
And they've done a good job, and they've worked with you, and then they work with Tom, and then me, and so within 2 weeks prior, we're generally have the motions done. If we're letting scattered proponents do it well in advance.
No, I agree with that.
Okay, all right, so just give it some thought. I'm happy to work on that too with you all. So if you have ideas, obviously you got Tom as a good resource here, so whatever you want to do is fine with me, so.
Agreed.
Okay. All right, obviously 30, 31. So, David,
Yeah.
on these, my preference, because I don't want to put the proponent of these articles in a position where he's, like, there's an affirmative negative, or there's a negative motion out there. My preference, because look, he put some work into it, he made it, now he's walked them back, fine. I would rather just take no motion. So when these get introduced, what I will probably do, what I'd prefer to do is say, my understanding is that there's going to be no motions to be made on Article 30 and 31, and let them die for lack of a motion, which is in and of itself a negative motion under town meeting time. So if everyone's okay with that. Now, the proponent could choose to revive these.
I don't think he.
I don't think he
Not
will
going to be
either.
a meeting, but
I think it all depends on how it sounds.
But that's my preference, because I don't want
I
to,
think he will.
be there.
I don't want to have it motion for indefinite postponement out there. So, okay. So that's the way I'm going to proceed with those, David, and we'll sync up that
Yeah,
before town meeting.
yep.
Avery Way, 32. That's fine.
Guaranteed, huh?
So actually, we're going to amend this motion so
Stand in the
that
middle of the
we
street.
identify the
Not gonna
plan.
take that line down.
Okay, all right.
I understand.
Okay, the next two, and I don't know how you feel about it, I think these were late additions. I think they need to be moved up if you're willing to do it, particularly the tri-county stabilization. I think it should be considered as part, right after the budget.
Okay.
Obviously I defer to you on there.
That's
And then
fine.
the MBTA zoning should probably be with the planning board articles, because that's probably going to engender a decent amount of conversation too.
All right.
So I just want to put that to your radar.
No, I'm fine with that. And this is generic stabilization fund?
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to be a 2/3.
Yep.
It's the only surviving
Special
2/3
purpose,
vote.
I think.
No, stabilization.
Is it? Okay.
It's stabilization, yeah.
It's not a special.
No, this is our stabilization.
Okay. And I'm fine with the MBTA one, too. Tell me about, aside from a slide, is there going to be any further discussion?
Yes. So Melissa does have slides.
Oh, lucky Melissa
Yeah.
drew this one.
So we'll work collectively together to talk about it. But yeah, there's a slide with presentation,
Short, roughly,
yeah.
just so you know, you do not have to go through what MBTA zoning is and isn't. And if anyone tries to revive a debate over MBTA zoning for whatever reason, I'm not going to allow it. So we already passed the underlying bylaw.
Yeah.
Talk about why you're doing the amendment.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's not going to be a debate. We're not going to, even though the debate we had on it, I thought was pretty fair-minded and relatively brief, we're not going back and
That's good
discussing.
to know. The slides do not, they don't even talk about that.
I know, but-
It's all about this, the expansion of the zone and why we're doing this, and the impacts that it could have, and then what a yes vote means and what a no vote means.
Right. I'm just, with the
Understood.
kind of, there's new debate under 3A zoning just because what's going on in Rentham and some other towns and what the auditor said. So we're not getting into that. So if someone asks that, well, you're at the mic, Melissa, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna discuss that. Let's just keep it pretty basic. Okay. And if you want to talk about it beforehand or tell me what you're going to do, that's fine. We can go over it. So I'll move that up. You want that to be the first zoning article or the last zoning article? It's up to the planning board folks.
So we'll-
So, can you move the meeting along? Sorry, chat.
Sure.
Yeah, go.
Maybe we make it the first.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was thinking,
What do
so
you
just
think, Melissa?
to keep the meeting going smoothly, I'm going to be covering the ADU presentation and also MBTA, so I don't care if it's at the beginning or the end, but we might want to keep those together just so I can just stay up there instead of getting up and down
Okay.
and save some time.
All right. All right. So I'll plan on doing it the first of the zoning. If anyone has a preference as we get closer, let me know.
no, that's, yeah, it makes sense, yeah. Right after the pickleball.
Right.
Aren't they one of the same?
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Unless, I don't know, Article 33 is going to go where?
I'm sorry, what? Oh, that's going to go right after the budget, Dave. Right after the
after
omnibus.
Okay. All right.
Is that okay with you guys?
For the early bird.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I let, I think it's Thais now, so.
Okay, that's fine.
Or it might be me, depending on where Thais is that day. so.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. Anything else, select board folks, any preliminaries that you guys have? Anything this year?
No?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Okay.
Well, I might say something about Justin.
Okay.
About changes in, like, we could say something acknowledging Justin's service to the community.
All right, so why don't we, let's talk a little, when we get a little closer, you just let me know.
Perfect.
Right, okay. All right. I think that's it. Anyone else have anything else that they think might come up at town meeting? If people are hearing things or want to discuss something, let's do it. If there's anyone to honor, aside from Justin, it's only going to be like 45 minutes, Justin, of that.
I'm good with any of it. It's
7 or 8
okay.
slides.
Thank you.
Right.
I'm good. I've written a poem. Yeah.
Yeah, let me know if anything comes up. If planning board is hearing anything on their stuff that I can help with, fine. Otherwise, I think we're good to go.
We're doing pre-town meeting. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I was going to mention that. One thing that we thought was really good, particularly just off of feedback, I don't know if the board wants to speak to it. You guys want to speak to it, or you want me to speak to it pre-town meeting?
I'll go. So we had some feedback from 2 different places where people wanted to have more. They said they felt like town meeting went fast and they didn't have enough time to ask questions and to think about the answers to the questions. And so what some other communities have done is done like a pre-town meeting, just a Q&A.
We've done that.
Have a Q&A,
before.
so we're going to
Jack
have
did
a
it.
pre-town meeting Q&A on May
May
7th, just so the community can send in questions early, ask questions, whatever they want additional time to think about. And so we're just making that available based on community feedback.
Okay. And that's the only day you can do it? 'Cause I mean, I can't be here on the 7th, but I'd otherwise be happy to attend. I used to do it with Jack from time to time.
We were going to try to film it. I don't know where we're at with that, but
Yeah, NCTV will film it. They've been gracious to film it. That was the only day that worked for a good amount of our departments.
So are you going to put something up on the?
Yep.
yes, we were going to announce it
Usual
tonight at the select board meeting tonight, and then
Okay,
we'll post.
all right. I'd like to let people know through my page as to that's going to happen. Okay, that's great.
Perfect.
All right, good. All right,
All right, thank you.
see everyone
I'm
in a
planning
few
on coming to
weeks.
that. Where is that?
We're putting in the King Philip Auditorium. The other location didn't work, so just like where town meeting is typically at.
At 6 PM.
Okay.
6 to 7:30.
6 to 7:30, May 7th. We'll say something again tonight. We'll let everybody know.
Okay.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Justin, shall we?
Yeah, I'll catch up with you. Jay, what I think we'll do is the board will talk about maybe today.
I'll make a motion that we close the hearing then for 29 Midway. Let me get the right address here, 29 Midway Street. For